If variety is the spice of a city's life, then monotony is a deadly menace. How can we get more variety and avoid monotony? One way is to preserve and modernize older buildings whose design has proved to be functionally good and pleasing to the eye. We also need to remember that one generation's architectural treasure is often the next one's horror, and vice versa. Another way to keep variety is to guard zealously our handsome public buildings, whose presence gives a feeling of continuity in the city for both residents and visitors. Almost every street has some building on it worth saving that also symbolizes the special character of its neighborhood. Another enemy of variety is sheer size. The unbroken bulk of this automated telephone exchange is an almost frightening intrusion in a neighborhood where people live. Should not the designers and builders have considered them? This bank's monotonous block-long facade makes your feet hurt just watching someone else walk past it, and few of us will walk past it unless we have to. One solution to this kind of monotony is to have lots of different things happening on the same street. This is 8th Street in Manhattan, one of the liveliest neighborhood thoroughfares in the country. Its variety is a magnet for people from all over town. And still, 8th Street is a genuine meeting place for people who live in the neighborhood as well. Eighth Street's variety developed naturally. It wasn't planned at first, but it would have disappeared just as naturally if the businessmen and property owners hadn't made a determined effort to keep out those large stores, banks, and developments which would otherwise have taken over whole blocks of 8th Street for a single use. On a busy street where lots of different things and activities go on, people can have fun just watching other people and being among them. A good many people like to have a ringside seat on this hurly-burly world. So 8th Street and those intersecting it are residential streets, too. Unfortunately, 8th Street's kind of variety-promoting mixed use of buildings is customarily frowned on by city planners, often made illegal by our zoning laws, and generally discouraged in newer neighborhoods by the design of our buildings. Nearby 12th Street, between 5th and 6th Avenues, is another outstandingly successful example of mixed use. It begins with a church on one corner and the large publishing firm's offices on the other. Down the block are old brownstone residences and luxury apartments, side by side. The new School for Social Research, artist studios, and some handsome old townhouses. It's one of the safest spots anywhere, too, because it's never deserted. There's always someone about. Unfortunately, the variety of 12th Street is already being threatened by giantism. At the 6th Avenue corner, this is what you see if you look north. Looking south, you see Jefferson Market Tower, saved through the determined effort of several hundred neighbors. Some people call this an architectural gem. Some think it's a joke. I say it's a welcome relief from the growing monotony of our skyline. Much that is old should be destroyed. Old buildings are often a lot more fun to look at than to live in. The windows on this air shaft felt the sun for the first time 70 years after they were built, when the next tenement was torn down. and keeping house here can still be a desperate struggle. Yes, something has to be done about most slum buildings. That's the simple truth. And to date, we've had one all too simple answer. Just clear everything and start from scratch. The recipe? Take 20 acres and bulldoze till flat. Apply cookie pattern. Mix concrete, mold into rectangles, stand up on end, and what have you got? Is everybody happy? Is everybody finding life in the big city exciting, interesting, varied, richly rewarding? Is it fun? There is no doubt that modern mass-scale building is making city living more sanitary and convenient for a great many people. But aren't we, in the process, losing lots of the things we came to the city to find? Is this really our only choice? It is claimed by some experts that the real reason most projects are so deadly is that a project is usually devoted to only one kind of use, residential, business, educational, or what have you. So there is no variety of human activity in it. Everyone is busy doing pretty much the same thing. Grouping all government buildings around a landscaped open space is an idea much favored by city planners. It gives them a chance to clear up congestion and lay out a mass of buildings pleasing to the eye. During business hours, however, these centers are crowded with too many people who have the same schedules. Because there's nothing here except government buildings, both employees and citizens who come here on business must go several blocks to shop or get a decent meal. Off hours, much of the time, you'll find the walks and parks deserted, except by derelicts, creating a police problem. Even the best civic design gets pretty dull after the first half hour if there's nothing happening. Once again, the ideal of unmixed use has produced orderly monotony. Some projects, like Rockefeller Center, for instance, have cleared up chaos and congestion without sacrificing variety and interest. In fact, variety was planned into the place, so the favorite tarrying spot for thousands of New Yorkers, and its sights and sounds lift the spirit of other thousands who pass through it on their way to work or shopping. For don't forget, overhead you have one of the biggest concentrations of office space in the world, and one of the most continually profitable. Building variety into Rockefeller Center has been good business, as well as good urban design.